Good evening, good evening, good evening. It's good to be back, letting Facebook build an audience. How you folks doing today? Great, great. Let's get ready to rock and roll. Missed you guys the last couple days. Back in the saddle. This is Black History Month. We are, and in keeping with that, if you take a minute and reflect on the message on the board, I will let Facebook continue to build an audience, and we'll get things rocking in just a moment. Folks, we're building an audience. Be right with you. All right, all right. So in keeping with Black History Month, what I wanted to do was to kind of reflect on the message. It's kind of interesting, this quote from Harriet Tubman. She said, "I freed 1,000 slaves. I could have freed 1,000 more if only they knew they were slaves." When you reflect on that message, it's really kind of interesting. We hear people, I've heard the saying, or you've heard the saying, people do better when they know better. If you think the cost of education is high, the cost of not knowing or ignorance is triple that. So there's a lot to be said for being informed and having an awareness. Pardon me. And then and only then are you in a position to really do anything about it. And so over the years that I've been doing this, one of the things that has really struck me, and when I look specifically at my own case, I just didn't know. They say ignorance is no excuse of the law. Well, that's a pretty ironclad fact. The fact that you don't know that you're breaking the law is really no excuse. Prosecution is certainly going to come if you, depending upon what the situation is. let me tell you something. Where you're going to figure out that you didn't know is the least likeliest place that you want to figure it out. And that's at retirement. And so pretty much everything that I talk about as it relates to money is really about two very important things. Preparing yourself for retirement. And that doesn't necessarily have to mean 65 years of age. Listen, you're hearing it here if you've never heard it before. You get to dictate when that time is. You get to dictate when you retire. And so you are abrogating your responsibility when you don't know that. And when you don't know that, it shows up and reflects in your money. And how does it show up? Well, you tend to look more like $1 million than having $1 million in the bank, for one. You tend to be doing things, and here's the crazy part about that. When I got debt free and I began to understand how money worked, and that it was simply a tool that allowed me to control my life to the extent that I could, right? There's some unforeseen things that we just can't really predict. But what it made me realize was frugality and responsibility in my money do not mean that I have to be a pauper. It doesn't mean that I have to be a miser. It doesn't mean that I have to be a cheapskate. It doesn't mean that I can't live life to the fullest. And folks, here's, in keeping with Black History Month, particularly as we talk about someone who is known internationally for the work that she did in freeing people. In that vein, this broadcast tonight is to say to you, share this message. Share the message. Hit the share button, please. Make comments. There are a lot of people who are operating, got college degrees. They're making, high 5 and 6 figure salaries. They live in the right neighborhoods. They are, in their mind, doing all the things that they were told to do to realize the American dream. One of the things that this capitalistic society sells us on is through commercialism or consumerism, is that when you own, possess, wear, drive, live in certain neighborhoods or drive certain cars or possess certain things, that you are living the American dream. There is no bigger lie being sold than could ever be. So I'm pouring my heart out today on this, my Black History broadcast, to say that, particularly African Americans have made tremendous strides. We've done a phenomenal job in terms of education, in terms of access, in terms of standing and status, in terms of travel, in terms of leadership and business owner and activism, home ownership, all of those things. But when the statistic of 96% of all Americans reach age 65 broke, it doesn't say African American, white, Asian, Latino, other. It says all Americans. It doesn't say educated, non-educated, rich or poor. It says all Americans. That should raise your awareness to the point that you say, okay, maybe there's something to be said for some knowledge. So, a lot of times we don't realize that we're in a lesser position because we are not aware of what lesser looks like. Okay, and I don't mean that from necessarily, you can't pay your bills, you can't put food on the table. I'm talking about people who are making decent salaries. I've got clients who, when I go in, and some of them are online right now, when I go in and I do an analysis of your spending situation and really we sit down, I had one client that deferred hiring me, he and his wife, for 4 months. Because when I looked at their budget, and when I looked at their whole financial picture, I sat back and I said to him, I said, you guys are sitting on a gold mine. Well, they're sharp people. They're smart people. He basically figured, okay, let me look at this and see if I can see this gold mine that this guy is talking about. He looked at it every which way but sideways, including sideways. and could not figure out how the heck I could sit and speak confidently to his face, their face, that they were sitting on a gold mine. And folks, when you know and you know that you know, there's no refuting it. What I know is, and here's what I will say to you. I don't care whether you make $25,000 a year or $200,000 a year. I will guarantee you that I can go inside of your budget and I can reveal for you dollars that you are pissing in the wind. Excuse the phrase. You are literally, you might as well go out in your backyard, build a beautiful fire and throw your stuff in it. That's what you're doing to your future and your finances because you don't know. Now, I'm here to tell you, pardon me, and there's no one that I've met with, and this is what astounds me, there's no one that I've met with who has not, through the process and as we've gotten to the end of the first phase of it, who said, my God, if only I knew this 5 years ago, 10 years ago. And you know what? 5 years ago, 10 years ago, for some of you is right now. It's tonight. It's February the 7th, 2017. The question is, are you going to put your pride aside? You're going to stop operating out of fear and embarrassment and shame and move from the darkness into the light? Are you going to move from the darkness into the light? Folks, let me tell you something. You will pay an astounding amount of money to get the services that I provide. The price point, the price to play in this game of learning your finances is minuscule in comparison. Here's what I guarantee you, that each of you are spending 2 to 3 times the amount of money I charge per month on stuff that has no meaning and no value when we assess it all at the end of the month. 2 or 3 times. Make the call. Text the number. I put it on the title of this. Text budget worksheet BWS to 301-250-1088. Let's get that document in your hand. Let's start working together. So here we go, right? That was my little, standing on my soapbox, I guess, whatever it is. My appeal, my plea to say, come on, the time is now. The political climate, your social climate, the academic standings, none of those things matter. If you are earning a salary every month, you can change your life. I don't know how many ways to say that. I just got finished talking to, a colleague who is a realtor, and we're getting ready to make a push. If you're a realtor, if you're a lender, we're going to be calling you. If you're hearing this broadcast, give us a call, because we want to team up with you to help you prepare your clients or potential clients, buyers, and folks who are going to be borrowing money, to help them get their finances in order so that you can close more deals, put more families in homes, make the process so much easier. So one of the things that we talk about is a term called, financial literacy, right? So financial literacy, right? It's important. That's what this is really all about, right? Am I spelling? Writing big tonight, right? Big. Financial literacy, right? Folks, here's a little tip. If you got a credit card and your credit card is a $2,000 line of credit or credit limit, the minute you spend $1,001, you've now put your credit score in a negative position. Because when you're spending more than 50% of a line of credit that you have, whether it be a credit card or a line of credit or any type of instrument that allows you, that advances you money, when you've exceeded 50%, you now have moved into a negative area, right? So one of the things that I was sharing with the realtor friend was that, there are things that we need to learn about credit scores, debt to income ratios, right? What percentage of your money should go for housing? What percentage should go for automobile? What percentage should go for food and clothing? what percentage should go for entertainment. There are some very precise numbers that operate as a guide for you in those areas, right? And so debt to income is a very, very important phrase, right? It's too big for me to write. Just rewind the tape. One of the other things is this. I remember when I went to buy my first home, and it was one of these bogus lenders. They were a scam, and they did a qualification. Now let me share something with you. When you're talking about buying a home, there's two terms. Anytime you're talking about money and borrowing money, there are two terms that are used. One of them is bogus, BS. The other one is what you need to pay attention to. It's a real number. When they talk about being pre-qualified, that's a bogus number. When they talk about being pre-approved, that's the real deal. Let me tell you why. Pre-qualification just simply means all they do is take your income and they look at your debt and they say, based on the amount of money you make, you can borrow X number of dollars. They don't take your social security number. They don't do a credit background check on you. They just basically, it's a quick and dirty number. So now, so I got pre-qualified at $350,000. Now, because I've been doing this work, I knew that was it just didn't sound right. There's no way in the world with my salary and with my credit standing that I could qualify for $350,000. Now, here's the crazy part. One, you look real embarrassed when you go thinking you can buy a $350,000 house. Two, you get real deflated. You get real deflated. It just takes it's like getting kicked in the gut. Because you were excited. And the first thing you're thinking is, yeah, I'm going to buy that big, beautiful house in that neighborhood where I always wanted to live. And I'm going to be able to, the driveway and the 2-car garage and all that. And then you get the reality of your pre-approval, right? When you go to get approved, and that number is more like 200,000. And even if the number is 200,000, I would suggest that you buy 75% of whatever that approval is. Why? Because you don't want to be house rich, cash poor. And so it's very important to understand what you're dealing with. This is probably some of the most valuable information that you can get in terms of putting your life on a track to live out the American dream. Let me tell you, it's very possible to live the American dream. It really is. And what that means is this: taking a vacation and not having enough money to buy a t-shirt or a souvenir or take the tour or excursion that was being offered when you signed on to this, excursion or tour or vacation package. Folks, I've done it. Been on vacation and, you spend the money, but then you get home and you wonder how in the world am I going to pay this debt now that I've spent all this money, or you don't do it at all. Folks, so the whole thing is it really is about getting a true assessment. And the first thing we do is we take that budget worksheet analysis, that BWS, budget worksheet, budget worksheet analysis, right? And we get an assessment of where you are. And once we get an assessment of where you are, then we find out where you want to go. And at that point, we begin to put it together for you to operate in a plan that will allow you to live your dream. And so what that means is this, right? I can tell you pretty much within plus or minus $200, when you're going to be debt free. I'm sorry, plus or minus within $200, what your standing is. I can tell you within maybe a month to 4 months when you'll be debt free. I can tell you within maybe 6 months to a year when you can retire. Now, when I give these ranges, it's not because the numbers are wrong. It's because of the behavior and life circumstances that will happen that may make you have to modify that. But that's okay, because life is going to happen, right? And so isn't it a lot better when you get in your car and you put in your destination, and the GPS from the time you pull your car out of your driveway tells you exactly where to go and how long, how many, 100 yards or miles it's going to be before you do the next thing, turn left, turn right, whatever the case may be. And it even gives you an approximation of when you're going to arrive. That's what this is, simply put. It's your financial GPS, right? So let me write that out for you. Financial GPS. I'm all over the place today. I got this thing. Financial, right? I'm going to write it over here. GPS. Right? Financial GPS. Right? What it does is it tells you where you're going and how long it's going to take you to get there. And it even tells you where the obstacles are, the traffic, the accidents, whatever the case may be. Why not put one of these in place in your money? Why not put one of these in place in your money, right? So, all right. So what I want to do real quick is I want to share a concept with you. All right? This concept, and so what I'm going to do is I want those of you who are online right now, it looks like it's about 8 of you, 7 to 8 of you. What I want you to do is this. I'm going to give you two scenarios. One, I'm going to give you $500,000, right? Versus 1 penny a day for 30 days. Mess that up. And it doubles every day. Right? Which one are you going to choose? So the scenario is $500,000 right now, cash in your hand, versus a penny, 1 cent a day, doubling for 30 days, doubling every day. Right? So let me just kind of check and see who wrote what. Which one are you picking? What do you want? If I'm giving you the choice of this, which one do you want? Let me check the stats. Let me see what folks are typing. All right, good. Okay, come on, folks, make some choices. Not getting off that easy. All right, somebody said 500,000. Yay. All right, who else says what? Denise Jordan says she's taking the 500. Jermaine Anderson, he's taking the 1 penny. Boy, I tell you, wow. So already we got somebody taking the 500,000 and somebody taking the penny. Let me check and see what's going on out here. Who else? Jamal, you're taking a penny. Okay, who else is taking what? What are you taking? Come on, don't be afraid. Put it in. Y'all done went silent on me. All right, so anyway, right? So $500,000 is a lot of money. I would agree with you, right? But a penny a day, doubling every day for 30 days, believe it or not, is $5,450,000. Can you believe that? $5,450,000. Well, it's there's some other numbers in there, but it's a lot of money, and so that shows the power of compound interest, right? So when you take compound interest, 1 penny a day, and you can write this out, do 1 through 30 on a piece of paper, and take a penny. So day 1 is 1 penny. Day 2 is 2 pennies. Day 3 is 4 pennies. Day 4 is 6 pennies. Pardon me. Day 5, it's 12. And then 24, and so on and so forth. Do the math. Take a calculator, write 30 on a piece of paper. 1, 2, double 4, double 8, double 16, double 32, so on and so forth. It's staggering. And while we can't do a penny a day necessarily every day in our daily functions, what we can do is do that on an annual basis. Every year or every 6 months, put ourselves in a situation where our money doubles, right? So real quick, I'm gonna give you this rule, right, about doubling. Right? I'm just, I'm trying to, as one of my consultants said to me yesterday, I talked to him, and I'm building a team. I got people who are helping me market this stuff and put it out there so that I can be effective in communicating this powerful message. And he says, Larry, maybe you're doing a data dump. Maybe you're giving people too much. You know what? I'm throwing caution to them. I'm going to give you everything. Not everything, but a lot. Right? So if you want to find out how to determine how many years it will take for your money to double, you take the interest rate and divide it by 72. It's called the rule of 72. Right? So in the rule of 72, rule of 72, right, is, so if we have, right now, if you were to go to your bank, let's just be nice and generous and say they give you 2% interest, right? So 2% interest on your money, right, if we divide that into 72, is going to take what? Looks like 36 years for your money to double. Right? Double. Right? Crazy. Now let's say that you, and this is where I'm going to need some help. Let's say that you are earning 15%. No, legally I can't say that. I'm not even going to say that. Let's say you're earning 12%. That's the max I can put on the board. 12%. Right? Divided by 72. Right? So 12 are going to 72, what? 6 times. So that's going to be 6 years. So for all of y'all that got all this money and it's sitting around in the bank and you getting 2% and you feel like it's safe, you are actually losing money because inflation is right around 4%. So that means you're losing, you're negative in your money basically because your money's not making any money. Take you 36 years. So if you had $10,000, it would take 36 years for it to be 20,000. Right? The same $10,000 in this scenario, right, would take 6. So how many times will 6 go into 36? 6 times. So there are 6 sixes in 36. So 6 times 10, you would have $60,000 in the same amount of time. So in 36 years, you would have $60,000. Let me get over here. As opposed to in 36 years, you'd only have 20. Simple stuff, right? Who would have thought it? Who would have thought that, these formulas that are real and legitimate, that determine to help you in your money, are so powerful, right? So this is just some basic stuff. Basic stuff. Folks, I once was one of those individuals who believed in making a lot of money. And don't get me wrong, I still believe in it. But here's where I've made the modification. I've modified that belief by operating in my life that my sole objective with my money is to take a portion of it, a certain percentage of it, and put it back out in the field of work to make more money. So what happens is you start accumulating money, building wealth, without doing the labor or the work in order to build it by using what is called investments. And so, I'm going to go back to the quote in keeping with Black History Month. Harriet Tubman said, this is a quote, "I freed 1,000 slaves. I could have freed 1,000 more if only they knew they were slaves." Most Americans are enslaved and don't know it. You are working, you're spending your most precious gift, that's your time, every day, and you're on the treadmill of life. And you're going out, you're getting up every morning, you're getting your coffee, fixing your breakfast, and you're doing your thing, you feed the kids, you get them off on the bus, and you go in and you get in your car and you deal with the traffic, and you go through all of that, and some of you getting pretty ticked off because folks are, and you go to work and then you get off and you come home and you do that week in, week out, week in, week out, week in, week out. You're on the treadmill of life, and you feel like you're moving, you're spending all this energy and getting nowhere fast, right? There's a way to change that. So here's my promise to you. You text the number, or text budget worksheet, or BWS, to the number 301-250-1088, and let us help you do an analysis. And what we'll show you is, in 90 days, we can turn around, in most cases, 90 days can turn your finances around to the point where you got control of your money, one of your most valuable resources. You got control of it to the point now where you're operating deliberately in your finances. Very, very important. Very important. Okay? So, I'll give you a minute to reflect on it. Let me just check on any comments or thoughts here. Yeah, wow, Denise, that's right. It is. It's powerful. Jermaine, rule of 72. Adrian, that's right. You picked a penny. Yup, 1 cent, 500,000. Who's this? That's good. Hey, welcome, Taiwan Sampson. Welcome. Hey, cuz, how you doing, Candy? Mr. Corsi, how you doing? Jermaine. Daryl Tillman. Great. Hey, how you doing, man? Jermaine, thanks for showing up. Jermaine, we're gonna do some big things together. We're gonna educate some folks with this knowledge. We're gonna team up and we're gonna empower folks in a way in their finances. Folks, you're already doing this. You already running $1,500, $2,000, $4,000, $5,000, $10,000 through your hands every month, and most of you don't even realize it. You're running this money through your hands every month. Folks, you will run $500 to $1 million to $5 million through your hands over a 40-year period. The sad part about it is you will have no accountability for where the hell it went. Now that's sad. If you calculate right now, if you calculate your average salary from the time you started working to right now, 10, 20, 30 years at $25, $30, $50,000 a year, and you do that math, and you end up with, 800, $1 million, $1.5 million that you've earned in a salary, and you don't have 10% of that. Some of you don't have 5% of that. Some of you don't have 1% of that. You're still operating paycheck to paycheck. Let me tell you something. Just put shackles on your arms and your feet and, call it a day. If you don't do something different, nothing different will happen for you. Nothing different. Nothing different. You guys are bringing an incredible amount of money through your hands. And the biggest place you're giving away is to your uncle. A lot of y'all got uncles that you ain't never met. Those of you who went in the military, you met him. Your Uncle Sam. You're giving away 15, 25, 33% of your income every year. And you know what you're using as a means to get all excited about? Filing your taxes and getting a daggone tax return. And now all you got is head of household and credit from the purchase of your house. And you're excited. You're excited. When you become one of my clients, one of the first things I'm going to do is help you change your thinking about getting that daggone income tax payment. Why are you giving the government your money for 12 months, paying you no interest, then you got to fill out all kind of documents to qualify to get back a fraction that you paid over to get it back. When you could be using that money to pay off debt. Now see, a lot of you hear this information, you really, really smart people, and I'm going to get a little rough with you right now. A lot of you think, you know what, this is great. I can go look at all his videos and I can piece it all together. Let me tell you something. You are selling yourself short if you think that you are going from zero knowledge and take the little bit of stuff I give you online without contacting me and supporting another business that is basically giving you this stuff and think that you're going to be able to come out better than you would if you hired a professional. If you hired a professional. Let me tell you, the gentleman, he's on the line right now. He and his wife. I told him that he was sitting on a gold mine. They finally went through their check down of how crazy I must be but can't really be because, you know, the person that introduced me to them is legitimate. So after 4 months of, you know, turning the daggone paper every which way they could to try and figure out, you can't figure out what you don't know. And then what happens is, you know, there's a term that says you're just smart enough to be dangerous. You put yourself in some of the worst harm's way. And then you'll call me. Hey, you know, I got myself in, it's too late. Well, it's not too late. I'll still work with you. Right? Because I understand. Stop being a know-it-all. This ain't your area. Hire the people to do what they do professionally to help you do what you want to do. And focus your time on going out here and making the money you need to make to position yourself to live the life of your dreams. And of course, I always end this, not a daggone cliche. The people who are going to benefit most from your newfound way of thinking and your newfound behavior as a result of that thinking, guess who it's going to be? You know who it's going to be. But I'm going to just write it out anyway. Folks, you keep doing what you're doing. Listen, I eliminated $88,000 worth of debt in 2.5 years, and I never got a part-time job. Now, there's nothing wrong with having a part-time job, but one of the worst things you're doing, if you don't understand what you're doing, you go get a part-time job, the first thing that you've done is put yourself in another tax bracket. That's the first thing you've done. Put yourself in another tax bracket. And what does another tax bracket do? Take more money out of your paycheck. What do you feel like at the end of every week or every paycheck? Like a slave to that money, right? So, text BWS, budget worksheet, to 301-250-1088. Let's get this thing going, okay? If not for no one else but your kids. Let's show them a different way of doing this, all right? There you go. All right, folks. Sorry I forgot a little rough tonight. I do this every night or every other night or however many times I do it. And it gets to be a little, you know. But, hey, thanks for coming out. Appreciate the viewership. If you got any questions, text them real quick on that thing. And I'll come back there and check out what you wrote. And, you know, we'll go from there. I'll do my best to answer them for you. Got any questions? Shout them out to me real quick. What am I at? 8:40 means I've been about 30 minutes. Where are you? What you got? Hey, you're welcome, man. Thank you, Daryl. Or whoever said that. Let's see. Questions? You're welcome, Denise. All right. Hey, Delvin. Welcome, Delvin. How you doing? You're welcome, Adrian. Hey, Anthony, what are you laughing at, man? Why are you laughing at me? Stop laughing. Let's connect this week, all right? Yeah, that's right. Word. Jermaine, you're right. That's right. Folks, I'm excited. We're working with Live Again Art Bar. We're going to be doing a workshop there for those folks in the Cambridge, Salisbury, Denton, Easton, proximity to Cambridge. Come on out. We're going to be doing a workshop in March. Just talk with those folks over there today. We're getting this thing together. We're going to empower and change some lives. We're going to change lives We're going to change lives and communities and neighborhoods and whole cities. This thing is going to blow up when people realize that they're enslaved because they don't know that they're slaves to a job. Let me tell you something. I spent the day today working on my business, and I still generated income because I'm a business owner. Every day, I may put in 10, 20 hours a week. I still get paid. There's nothing magical about it. And if you look at me, you see what I drive, where I live. Folks, I invest my money in the quality of my life, not the stuff I wear and the neighborhood I live in and the cars I drive. Because after all, they're depreciating purchases. They're liabilities. They're liabilities. So anyway, off my soapbox. Let me check one more time. Who said what? What's going on? There you go. You're right, Jermaine. We're going to make it happen, baby. Yep. All right, guys. I guess text the number. Let me write it out one more time for you. 301-250-1088. And you're going to text the word BWS. Send those things on over, folks. Let's get this thing going. Thanks a lot for viewing. And as I always say, there's life after debt. Right? If you have a predictable income,